Question 1. Which Roman emperor initiated the full-scale invasion and conquest of Britain in AD 43? A. Julius Caesar, B. Claudius, C. Hadrian, D. Nero. Answers is B. Claudius. The Roman conquest of Britain began in AD 43 under the Emperor Claudius. Julius Caesar had led earlier expeditions, but Claudius initiated the full invasion. Question 2. What was the name of the wall built by the Romans across northern England to defend against Picts and Scots? A. Antonine Wall, B. Hadrian's Wall, C. Offa's Dyke, D. Watt's Dyke. Answers is B. Hadrian's Wall. Hadrian's Wall, built around AD 122, was a defensive fortification in Roman Britain, stretching from coast to coast in the north of England. Question 3. Which group of people settled in Britain after the Romans left, establishing several kingdoms? A. Vikings, B. Normans, C. Anglo-Saxons, D. Celts. Answers is C. Anglo-Saxons. After the Romans in the early century, tribes from northern Europe, known as Anglo-Saxons, to and settled in Britain. Question 4. What significant law code was introduced by Alfred the Great, King of Wessex? A. Danelaw Code, B. The Doom Book, C. Magna, D. The Domesday Book. Answers is B. The Doom Book. Alfred the Great compiled a law code known as the Doom Book, or Book of Judgments, which drew on earlier Anglo-Saxon laws. Question 5. Which Viking leader conquered England in the early century, becoming its king? A. Canute, B. Alfred the Great, C. D. Answers is A. Canute. Canute, also known as the Great, was a Danish prince who conquered England in 1016 and became King of England, Denmark, and Norway. Question 6. In which year did the Battle of Hastings take place, marking the Norman conquest of England? A. 1006, B. 1056, C. 1066, D. 1106. Answers is C. 1066. The Battle of Hastings was fought on 14 October 1066 between the army of William, Duke of Normandy, and an English army under the Anglo-Saxon King Harold. Question 7. What was the Domesday Book commissioned by William the Conqueror? A Book of Norman Laws, B. A detailed survey of land and wealth, C. A history of the Norman conquest, D. A collection of religious texts. Answers is B. A detailed survey of land and wealth. The Domesday Book was a comprehensive survey of the land and wealth of England and parts of Wales in 1086, primarily for tax purposes. Question 8. Who signed the Magna in 1215, limiting the power of the monarch? A. King Henry, B. King Edward I, C. King John, D. King Richard I. Answers is C. King John. King John was forced by rebellious barons to sign the Magna in 1215, which established principles of rule of law and limited monarchical power. Question 9. Which two royal houses fought in the Wars of the Roses? A. Lancaster and Tudor, B. York and Stuart, C. Lancaster and York, D. Tudor and Stuart. Answers is C. Lancaster and York. The Wars of the Roses were a series of civil wars fought between the House of Lancaster Red Rose and the House of York White Rose for the English throne. Question 10. Who was the first Tudor monarch of England? A. Henry. B. Henry. C. Elizabeth I. D. Mary I. Answers is B. Henry. Henry defeated Richard at the Battle of Field in 1485, ending the Wars of the Roses and establishing the Tudor dynasty. Question 11. Which King of England had 6 wives and established the Church of England? A. Edward. B. Henry. C. James I. D. Charles I. Answers is B. Henry. Henry famously separated the Church of England from papal authority in the, making himself the supreme head of the Church of England. Question 12. What was the fate of Mary, Queen of Scots, during the reign of Elizabeth I? A. She became Queen of England. B. She fled to France. C. She was. D. She retired to a convent. Answers is C. She was. Mary, Queen of Scots, was imprisoned by Elizabeth I for many years, and eventually for treason in 1587, after being implicated in plots to overthrow Elizabeth. Question 13. Which Scottish king became King of England in 1603, uniting the crowns of England and Scotland? A. Robert. The B. James. C. James of Scotland. James I of England. D. Charles. Answers is C. James of Scotland. James I of England. James of Scotland became James I of England upon Elizabeth I's death in 1603, marking the union of the crowns. Question 14. Who was the leader of the parliamentarian forces during the English Civil War? A. King Charles I. B. Oliver. C. Prince. D. General. Answers is B. Oliver. Oliver was a key military and political leader who led the parliamentarian New Model Army to victory against King Charles I during the English Civil War. Question 15. What significant event occurred in London in 1666, leading to widespread destruction? A. The Great Plague. B. The Great Fire of London. C. The Popish Plot. D. The Glorious Revolution. Answers is B. The Great Fire of London. The Great Fire of London, which started in a baker's shop, destroyed a large part of the city of London in September 1666, including Cathedral. Question 16. The Glorious Revolution of 1688 led to which monarchs taking the throne? A. Charles I and Maria. B. William and Mary. C. George I and D. James and Anne. Answers is B. William and Mary. The Glorious Revolution saw King James overthrown by a union of English parliamentarians and the Dutch stadtholder William of Orange, who then ascended the throne as William with his wife Mary. Question 17. What act officially united the Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of Scotland in 1707? A. The Act of Settlement. B. The Bill of Rights. C. The Acts of Union. D. The Treaty of Edinburgh. Answers is C. The Acts of Union. The Acts of Union, passed by both the English and Scottish in 1707, the single kingdom of Great Britain. Question 18. Which monarch was on the throne when Britain lost the American? A. George, B. George, C. Queen Victoria, D. William. Answers is B. George. King George reigned from 1760 to 1820, a period which included the American War of Independence and the loss of the 13. Question 19. What invention by James Watt was crucial to the Industrial Revolution? A. The spinning jenny, B. The improved steam engine, C. The power loom, D. The telegraph. Answers is B. The improved steam engine. James Watt significantly improved the steam engine in the and making it much more efficient and practical for industrial use, thereby fueling the Industrial Revolution. Question 20. Which British admiral famously defeated Napoleon's fleet at the Battle of in 1805? A. Admiral, B. Admiral Lord Nelson, C. Admiral Drake, D. Admiral Hood. Answers is B. Admiral Lord Nelson. Admiral Lord Nelson, a decisive naval victory for Britain against the combined fleets of France and Spain at the Battle of, though he was fatally wounded during the battle. Question 21. Who was the reigning monarch during the Victorian era? A. George, B. Queen Victoria, C. Edward, D. Queen Elizabeth I. Answers is B. Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria reigned from 1837 to 1901, a period known as the Victorian era, by significant industrial, cultural, political, and scientific change. Question 22. When did women gain the right to vote on the same terms as men? A. 1918, B. 1921, C. 1928, D. 1945. Answers is C. 1928. The Representation of the People Equal Franchise Act 1928 granted women aged 21 and over the right to vote on the same terms as men. Some women over 30 had gained the right in 1918. Question 23. Who was the British Prime Minister during most of the Second World War? A. Chamberlain, B. Churchill, C. Clement, D. Herald. Answers is B. Churchill. Churchill served as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1940 to 1945, leading the country through the majority of the Second World War. Question 24. What was the purpose of D-Day in June 1944? A. To liberate North Africa, B. To begin the invasion of Italy, C. To launch the Allied invasion of Normandy, France, D. To defend Britain from invasion. Answers is C. To launch the Allied invasion of Normandy, France. D-Day Operation Overlord on June 6, 1944, was the largest seaborne invasion in history, beginning the liberation of Europe from Nazi control. Question 25. In which year was the National Health Service established? A. 1938, B. 1948, C. 1958, D. 1968. Answers is B. 1948. The National Health Service was launched on July 5, 1948, by the Labour government of Clement, providing free healthcare to all citizens. Question 26. From which empire did India gain independence in 1947? A. French Empire, B. British Empire, C. Dutch Empire, D. Ottoman Empire. Answers is B. British Empire. India and Pakistan gained independence from British rule in August 1947, marking a significant moment in the dismantling of the British Empire. Question 27. What major immigration wave occurred in the after World War II? A. From Eastern Europe, B. From Scandinavia, C. From the Commonwealth, e.g. Caribbean, D. From the Answers is C. From the Commonwealth, e.g. Caribbean. After the immigration from Commonwealth, particularly the Caribbean the generation, to help rebuild the country and fill labour shortages. Question 28. Who was the first female Prime Minister of the United Kingdom? A. May, B. Truss, C. Thatcher, D. Wilson. Answers is C. Thatcher. Thatcher served as Prime Minister from 1979 to 1990, becoming the first woman to hold the office and the British Prime Minister of the century. Question 29. What is the official title of the current head of state in the A. President, B. King, C. Prime Minister, D. Monarch? Answers is B. King. There is a constitutional monarchy, and the head of state is the reigning monarch, currently the king. Monarch is the general term for the role, king is the specific title. Question 30. What is the main role of the Prime Minister in the government? A. Head of government, B. Head of state, C. Leader of the opposition, D. Speaker of the House. Answers is A. Head of government. The Prime Minister is the head of government in the United Kingdom, leading the cabinet and overseeing the executive branch. Question 31. Which institution makes laws in the United Kingdom? A. The Crown, B. The Supreme Court, C. Parliament, D. The Cabinet. Answers is C. Parliament. Parliament, consisting of the House of Commons, the House of Lords and the Monarch, is the supreme body in the United Kingdom. Question 32. How often are general elections typically held in the A. Every 3 years, B. Every 5 years, C. Every 7 years, D. Every 10 years? Answers is B. Every 5 years. Under the Act 2011, general elections were scheduled to be held every 5 years. While this Act has been repealed, the typical maximum term for a parliament remains 5 years. Question 33. What is the minimum age to vote in a general election in the A. 16, B. 18, C. 21, D. 25? Answers is B. 18. To vote in general elections, you must be registered to vote, be 18 or over on polling day, and be a British, Irish or Commonwealth citizen. Question 34. Which chamber of the Parliament has elected members of Parliament? A. House of Commons, B. House of Lords, C. The Privy Council, D. The Cabinet. Answers is A. House of Commons. The House of Commons is the lower chamber of the Parliament, comprising 650 elected members of Parliament, each representing a constituency. Question 35. What are the three devolved administrations within the A. England, Wales and Scotland, B. Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, C. England, Scotland and Northern Ireland, D. Scotland, Wales and Isle of Man? Answers is B. Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. There has devolved governments in Scotland, Scottish Parliament, Wales, Welsh Senedd, and Northern Ireland Assembly, which have powers over specific policy areas. Question 36. What is the capital city of Scotland? A. Glasgow, B. Edinburgh, C. Aberdeen, D. Dundee. Answers is B. Edinburgh. Edinburgh is the capital city of Scotland, known for its historic castle, Old Town and Royal Mile. Question 37. What is the capital city of Wales? A. Swansea, B. Cardiff, C. Newport, D. Answers is B. Cardiff. Cardiff is the capital city of Wales on the south coast and is home to the Senedd Welsh Parliament. Question 38. What is the capital city of Northern Ireland? A. Londonderry, B. Belfast, C. D. Armagh. Answers is B. Belfast. Belfast is the capital city of Northern Ireland on the eastern coast and is the seat of the Northern Ireland Assembly. Question 39. Which large lake is in Northern Ireland? A. Loch, B. Loch, C. Loch Ness, D. Lake Windermere. Answers is B. Loch. Loch is the largest lake by area in the British, entirely within Northern Ireland. Question 40. What is the highest mountain in Wales? A. Ben Nevis, B. Snowdon, C. Pike, D. Mount. Answers is B. Snowdon. Snowdon in Welsh is the highest mountain in Wales, in National Park. Question 41. What is the highest mountain in Scotland and the A. Mount Everest, B. Snowdon, C. Ben Nevis, D. Pike? Answers is C. Ben Nevis. Ben Nevis, near Fort William in the Scottish Highlands, is the highest mountain in Scotland and the entire United Kingdom. Question 42. Which river flows through London? A. River Severn, B. River Thames, C. River Mersey, D. River Clyde. Answers is B. River Thames. The River Thames is a major river flowing through southern England, including through the heart of London. Question 43. What is the national flower of England? A. Thistle, B. Rose, C. Daffodil, D. Shamrock. Answers is B. Rose. The rose is the national flower of England, often seen in the Tudor rose emblem and as a symbol in sports. Question 44. What is the national animal of Scotland? A. Lion, B. Unicorn, C. Dragon, D. Stag. Answers is B. Unicorn. The unicorn has been Scotland's national animal since the century, symbolising purity, innocence, power and independence. Question 45. What is the most popular sport in the A. Rugby, B. Football, soccer, C. Cricket, D. Tennis? Answers is B. Football soccer. Football, often referred to as soccer, is by far the most popular sport in the United Kingdom, with millions of fans and participants. Question 46. Which Grand Slam tennis tournament is held annually in London? A. French Open, B. US Open, C. Wimbledon, D. Australian Open. Answers is C. Wimbledon. The Wimbledon Championships, commonly known simply as Wimbledon, is the oldest tennis tournament in the world and is widely considered the most prestigious. Question 47. Which British playwright is widely regarded as the greatest writer in the English language? A. Charles Dickens, B. William Shakespeare, C. Jane D. Answers is B. William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare, often called England's national poet, is considered the greatest dramatist in the English language, with works like Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet. Question 48. Who wrote Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility? A. Charlotte, B. Jane, C. George, D. Virginia Woolf. Answers is B. Jane. Jane was an English novelist known primarily for her 6 major novels, which interpret, critique, and comment upon the British landed gentry at the end of the century. Question 49. Which British author the character Sherlock Holmes? A. Christie, B. Sir Arthur, C. Collins, D. G. K. Answers is B. Sir Arthur. Sir Arthur was a Scottish writer and physician, most noted for his fictional stories about the detective Sherlock Holmes, which are considered milestones in the field of crime fiction. Question 50. Who composed the Suite and Pomp and Circumstance marches? A. Benjamin, B. C. Edward, D. Ralph Williams. Answers is B. Was an English composer whose work is the orchestral suite while Edward composed Pomp and Circumstance, other major work that makes him a strong answer for both. Question 51. What is Boxing Day celebrated on December? A day for opening gifts, B. A bank holiday traditionally for servants, C. A day for public parades, D. A day of national mourning. Answers is B. A bank holiday traditionally for servants. Boxing Day is a bank holiday observed on December. Historically, it was a day when servants and tradespeople received a Christmas box from their employers or customers. Question 52. What is Guy Night celebrated on November? A day of harvest celebration, B. Commemorates the gunpowder plot, C. Celebrates the end of D. A day for remembering saints. Answers is B. Commemorates the gunpowder plot. Guy Night Bonfire Night commemorates the foiled gunpowder plot of 1605, an attempt to blow up the Houses of Parliament and King James I. Question 53. What is the traditional British dish made of battered fish and chips? A. Shepherd's pie, B. Fish and chips, C. And mash, D. Sunday roast. Answers is B. Fish and chips. Fish and chips is a popular takeaway meal consisting of battered fish, typically cod or haddock, and potato chips. Question 54. What is the purpose of jury service in the legal system? A. To provide legal advice to defendants, B. To decide guilt or innocence in trials, C. To prosecute criminals, D. To pass sentences on convicted offenders. Answers is B. To decide guilt or innocence in trials. Jury service involves a group of ordinary citizens, the jury deciding the facts of a case, and whether a defendant is guilty or not guilty, based on the evidence presented. Question 55. What is a basic legal right of all citizens in the A. Right to unlimited free travel, B. Right to a fair trial, C. Right to refuse taxation, D. Right to ignore laws they disagree with? Answers is B. Right to a fair trial. The right to a fair trial is a fundamental legal right protected by the Human Rights Act 1998, ensuring justice is administered impartially. Question 56. What is a responsibility of all citizens living in the A. To join a political party, B. To obey the law, C. To serve in the armed forces, D. To speak English at all times? Answers is B. To obey the law. Obeying the law is a fundamental responsibility for everyone living in the, ensuring a safe and orderly society. Question 57. Who is responsible for collecting taxes in the A. Local councils, B. Revenue and Customs, C. The Bank of England, D. The Treasury? Answers is B. Revenue and Customs. Revenue and Customs is the tax authority, responsible for collecting taxes and that fund public services. Question 58. What is the main role of the police in the A. To pass new laws, B. To maintain law and order, C. To provide legal representation, D. To interpret legal statutes? Answers is B. To maintain law and order. The police service in the is responsible for maintaining public order, preventing crime, detecting crime, and bringing offenders to justice. Question 59. What is the common term for the fundamental principles of the political system? A. Royal decrees, B. British values, C. Magna principles, D. Parliamentary decrees? Answers is B. British values. The concept of British values democracy, the rule of law, individual liberty, and mutual respect and tolerance for those with different faiths and beliefs, and for those without faith. Question 60. Which of these is a core British value related to public decision-making? A. Autocracy, B. Democracy, C. Oligarchy, D. Anarchy? Answers is B. Democracy. Democracy is a fundamental British value, meaning that the people have the power to elect their representatives and influence how the country is governed. Question 61. Which British scientist developed the theory of evolution by natural selection? A. Isaac Newton, B. Charles C. Allen, D. Stephen Hawking? Answers is B. Charles. Charles' groundbreaking work on the origin of species, published in 1859, laid the foundation for evolutionary biology. Question 62. Which British engineer is famous for designing the first effective steam locomotive, the Rocket? A. Kingdom, B. George, C. James Watt, D. Richard? Answers is B. George. George is considered the father of and designed the rocket, which won the trials in 1829 and became a model for future steam locomotives. Question 63. Who was responsible for developing penicillin, the first antibiotic? A. Edward, B. Alexander Fleming, C. Joseph Lister, D. Louis. Answers is B. Alexander Fleming. Sir Alexander Fleming, a Scottish bacteriologist, discovered penicillin in 1928, revolutionizing medicine and saving countless lives. Question 64. Which British mathematician is considered the father of theoretical computer science and artificial intelligence? A. Ada, B. Allen, C. Charles, D. Stephen Hawking. Answers is B. Allen. Allen played a crucial role in breaking the Enigma code during and made fundamental contributions to the concepts of algorithm and computation with the machine. Question 65. Which British physicist proposed the theory of gravity after observing an apple fall? A. Michael Faraday, B. Isaac Newton, C. James Clerk Maxwell, D. Ernest Rutherford. Answers is B. Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton, the laws of motion and universal gravitation, laying the groundwork for classical mechanics. Question 66. What is the common name for the British national flag? A. The Royal Standard, B. The Union Jack, C. The George's Cross, D. The Scottish Saltire. Answers is B. The Union Jack. The Union Jack is the national flag of the United Kingdom. It is a superimposition of the flags of England George's Cross, Scotland Andrew's Cross, and Ireland Cross. Question 67. Which flower is associated with Wales and often worn on David's Day? A. Rose, B. Daffodil, C. Thistle, D. Shamrock. Answers is B. Daffodil. The daffodil is a traditional emblem of Wales, especially worn on David's Day on March. Question 68. Which plant is the national emblem of Scotland? A. Rose, B. Daffodil, C. Thistle, D. Shamrock. Answers is C. Thistle. The thistle is the national flower and emblem of Scotland, a symbol of its proud and independent spirit. Question 69. Which plant is the national emblem of Northern Ireland? A. Rose, B. Thistle, C. Shamrock, D. Daffodil. Answers is C. Shamrock. The shamrock, a clover, is the national emblem of Northern Ireland and is often associated with saint. Question 70. What is the national anthem of the United Kingdom? A. Rule Britannia, B. God Save the King, C. Land of Hope and Glory, D. Jerusalem. Answers is B. God Save the King. God Save the King or Queen, depending on the monarch, is the national anthem of the United Kingdom. It is sung at various national events. Question 71. Which historical figure is celebrated on George's Day in England? A. Andrew, B. George, C. D. David. Answers is B. George. George's Day is celebrated on April in England, commemorating the patron saint of England, St. George. Question 72. Which historical figure is celebrated on Andrew's Day in Scotland? A. George, B. Andrew, C. D. David. Answers is B. Andrew. Andrew's Day is celebrated on November in Scotland, commemorating the patron saint of Scotland, St. Andrew. Question 73. Which historical figure is celebrated on Day in Northern Ireland? A. George, B. Andrew, C. D. David. Answers is C. Day is celebrated on March, particularly in Northern Ireland and by Irish worldwide, commemorating the patron saint of Ireland, St. Question 74. Which historical figure is celebrated on David's Day in Wales? A. George, B. Andrew, C. D. David. Answers is D. David. David's Day is celebrated on March in Wales, commemorating the patron saint of Wales, St. David. Question 75. What is the name of the legislative body of the Parliament's upper house? A. House of Commons, B. House of Lords, C. The Privy Council, D. The Supreme Court. Answers is B. House of Lords. The House of Lords is the second chamber of the Parliament. It is unelected and comprises life peers, bishops, and some hereditary peers. Question 76. What is the function of the Speaker in the House of Commons? A. To lead the government, B. To preside over debates and maintain order, C. To represent the monarch, D. To draft new laws. Answers is B. To preside over debates and maintain order. The Speaker is the chief officer and highest authority of the House of Commons, responsible for impartiality, controlling debates, and ensuring rules are followed. Question 77. What is the term for a local election where people vote for councillors? A. General election, B. Local election, C. By-election, D. Referendum. Answers is B. Local election. Local elections are held to choose councillors who will represent local councils, which provide local services. Question 78. What is the name of the annual speech given by the monarch to Parliament? A. The Prime Minister's address, B. The King's speech, C. The budget statement, D. The State of the Nation. Answers is B. The King's speech. The King's speech, formerly Queen's speech, outlines the government's proposed and legislation for the upcoming parliamentary session. It is delivered by the monarch, but written by the government. Question 79. What is the official residence of the monarch in London? A. Windsor Castle, B. Palace, C. Kensington Palace, D. Palace of. Answers is B. Palace. Palace serves as the administrative headquarters and London residence of the monarch of the United Kingdom. Question 80. What is the minimum age to be a Member of Parliament in the A. 18, B. 18, C. 21, D. 25? Answers is B. 18. Since the Electoral Administration Act 2006, the minimum age to be elected as an, or to stand in local or European elections, is 18. Question 81. What is the common term for the Chancellor of the Exchequer? A. Foreign Secretary, B. Finance Minister, C. Home Secretary, D. Justice Secretary. Answers is B. Finance Minister. The Chancellor of the Exchequer is the government's chief finance minister, responsible for economic and financial policy. Question 82. What is the primary function of the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom? A. To prosecute serious crimes. B. To be the final court of appeal. C. To draft new legislation. D. To advise the monarch. Answers is B. To be the final court of appeal. The Supreme Court is the final court of appeal for all civil cases, and for criminal cases from England, Wales and Northern Ireland. Question 83. Which major Roman road ran from London to Hadrian's Wall? A. Fossway. B. Street. C. Ermine Street. D. Street. Answers is B. Street. Street was a major Roman road in Britain, running from Andover through Canterbury and London to. Its course largely follows the roads today. Question 84. What was the official religion of England established by Henry? A. Catholicism. B. Protestantism Church of England. C. Presbyterianism. D. Puritanism. Answers is B. Protestantism Church of England. Henry separated the Church of England from the Roman Catholic Church, establishing it as the official state church and initiating the English Reformation. Question 85. Which English queen was known as the Virgin Queen? A. Mary I. B. Elizabeth I. C. Victoria. D. Anne. Answers is B. Elizabeth I. Elizabeth I, daughter of Henry and Anne, chose not to marry, earning her the nickname the Virgin Queen, and ruled for over 40 years. Question 86. What event in 1588 saw the defeat of a Spanish naval force by the English? A. Battle of B. Defeat of the Spanish Armada. C. Battle of Hastings. D. Battle of Waterloo. Answers is B. Defeat of the Spanish Armada. The defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588 was a decisive naval victory for England under Elizabeth I, preventing a Spanish invasion. Question 87. Which British explorer was the first to circumnavigate the globe? A. Captain James Cook. B. Sir Francis Drake. C. Walter Raleigh. D. Henry Hudson. Answers is B. Sir Francis Drake. Sir Francis Drake II circumnavigation of the world in a single expedition between 1577 and 1580, the first being Ferdinand Magellan's. Question 88. What document passed in 1689 established parliamentary supremacy and limited the monarch's power? A. Magna. B. Bill of Rights. C. Act of Settlement. D. Corpus Act. Answers is B. Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights 1689 set out specific constitutional and civil rights and ultimately gave Parliament power over the monarchy, following the Glorious Revolution. Question 89. Which British economist wrote The Wealth of Nations? A. John. B. Adam Smith. C. David Ricardo. D. Marx. Answers is B. Adam Smith. Adam Smith, a Scottish economist, is widely regarded as the father of modern economics for his seminal work, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations. Question 90. What was the name of the first permanent English settlement in North America? A. Plymouth, B. Jamestown, C. Roanoke, D. New York. Answers is B. Jamestown. Jamestown, Virginia, was founded in 1607 and was the first permanent English settlement in what is now the United States. Question 91. Which major canal connected Manchester to the Mersey estuary, boosting trade during the Industrial Revolution? A. Grand Union Canal, B. Manchester Ship Canal, C. Bridgewater Canal, D. Leeds and Liverpool Canal. Answers is B. Manchester Ship Canal. The Manchester Ship Canal, opened in 1894, allowed vessels to sail directly to Manchester, greatly boosting the city's industrial prowess. Question 92. Who was the British general who defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo? A. Lord Nelson, B. Duke of Wellington, C. General Montgomery, D. Earl. Answers is B. Duke of Wellington. Arthur Wellesley, the Duke of Wellington, led the army, along with a Prussian army, to victory over Napoleon Bonaparte at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. Question 93. Which Act of Parliament abolished slavery throughout the British Empire in 1833? A. Slave Trade Act 1807, B. Slavery Abolition Act 1833, C. Reform Act 1832, D. Emancipation Act 1829. Answers is B. Slavery Abolition Act 1833. The Slavery Abolition Act 1833 was an act of the Parliament of the United Kingdom abolishing slavery throughout the British Empire, with some exceptions. Question 94. What was the Chartist movement in the century concerned with? A. Workers' rights in factories, B. Political reforms for the working class, C. Women's suffrage, D. Religious freedom. Answers is B. Political reforms for the working class. Chartism was a movement that emerged in 1838, demanding political reforms such as universal male suffrage, secret ballots, and annual parliaments. Question 95. Which British nurse is considered the founder of modern nursing? A. Mary, B. Florence Nightingale, C. Elizabeth, D. Answers is B. Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale became prominent during the Crimean War for her pioneering work in nursing and established the first secular nursing school. Question 96. Which famous London landmark was built by Kingdom? A. Tower Bridge, B. Clifton Suspension Bridge designed by C. Westminster Bridge, D. Millennium Bridge. Answers is B. Clifton Suspension Bridge designed by Kingdom designed numerous bridges, tunnels and ships. While not in London, the Clifton Suspension Bridge is one of his most iconic designs. He also built the Great Western Railway. Question 97. When did the First World War begin? A. 1904, B. 1914, C. 1918, D. 1939. Answers is B. 1914. The First World War began in July 1914, following the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand of Austria, and lasted until November 1918. Question 98. What was the name of the ship that sank in 1912 after hitting an iceberg? A. Lusitania, B. Titanic, C. Queen Mary, D. Britannic. Answers is B. Titanic. The Titanic was a British passenger liner that sank in the North Atlantic Ocean on 15 April 1912 after striking an iceberg during her maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City. Question 99. Which major event led to the creation of the United Nations after? A. The League of Nations founding, B. The Second World War, C. The Cold War, D. The Korean War. Answers is B. The Second World War. The devastating impact of the Second World War led to the establishment of the United Nations in 1945, with the aim of promoting international cooperation and preventing future conflicts. Question 100. Who wrote 1984 An Animal Farm? A. B. George C. H. G. Wells, D. J. R. R. Answers is B. George. George's real name Blair was an English novelist, essayist, journalist and critic, whose work is by lucid prose, biting social criticism and opposition to totalitarianism. Question 101. Which city is home to the famous Edinburgh Fringe Festival? A. Glasgow, B. Edinburgh, C. London, D. Manchester. Answers is B. Edinburgh. The Edinburgh Fringe Festival is the world's largest arts festival, taking place annually in August in Edinburgh, Scotland. Question 102. What is the traditional Welsh choir festival called? A. La, B. Eisteddfod, C. Gaelic Mad, D. Fringe Festival. Answers is B. Eisteddfod. The Eisteddfod is a Welsh festival of literature, music and performance, with the National Eisteddfod of Wales being the largest. Question 103. Which famous theatre company performs in A. National Theatre, B. Royal Shakespeare Company, C. Globe Theatre, D. Old? Answers is B. Royal Shakespeare Company. The Royal Shakespeare Company is a major British theatre company based in Shakespeare's birthplace. Question 104. What is the traditional Scottish New Year's Eve celebration called? A. Burns Night, B. Hogmanay, C. Samhain, D. Beltane. Answers is B. Hogmanay. Hogmanay is the Scots word for New Year's Eve, traditionally celebrated with great enthusiasm in Scotland, often involving first footing. Question 105. What is a céilí in Scottish and Irish culture? A traditional song, B. A social gathering with folk music and dancing, C. A type of traditional food, D. A traditional storytelling event. Answers is B. A social gathering with folk music and dancing. A céilí pronounced is a social gathering that usually involves traditional folk music, singing and dancing, particularly common in Scotland and Ireland. Question 106. Which British band the album, Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band? A. The Rolling Stones, B. The Beatles, C. Queen, D. Led Zeppelin. Answers is B. The Beatles. The Beatles, a legendary band from Liverpool. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band in 1967, which is widely regarded as one of the greatest albums of all time. Question 107. Which British artist is known for their pop artworks like Just What Is It That Makes Today's Home So Different, So Appealing? A. B. Richard Hamilton. C. David D. Answers is B. Richard Hamilton. Richard Hamilton is widely regarded as one of the pioneers of pop art in Britain, with his 1956 collage being a seminal work of the movement. Question 108. What is the official language of the A. Scots Gaelic, B. English, C. Welsh, D. No official language? Answers is B. English. While English is the dominant and facto official language of there is no official language. Welsh and Gaelic are recognised minority languages. Question 109. What is a major responsibility when driving in A. To always drive above the speed limit, B. To hold a valid driving licence and insurance, C. To ignore traffic lights after midnight, D. To only drive during daylight hours? Answers is B. To hold a valid driving licence and insurance. It is a legal requirement in to hold a valid driving licence and have appropriate insurance to drive a vehicle on public roads. Question 110. What is the purpose of registering to vote in A. To pay local taxes, B. To be able to participate in elections, C. To receive free public transport, D. To apply for a passport? Answers is B. To be able to participate in elections. Registering to vote is essential for citizens to exercise their democratic right to vote in general elections, local elections, and referendums. Question 111. What is the name of the system where the public can formally request changes to law or policy? A. Public consultation, B. Petition, C. Referendum, D. Protest? Answers is B. Petition. Can submit or sign petitions online or paper to Parliament or local councils to highlight concerns and request action on specific issues. Question 112. What is the term for fair and equal treatment under the law? A. Prejudice, B. Justice, C. Privilege, D. Discrimination? Answers is B. Justice. Justice is a fundamental principle of the legal system, ensuring that everyone is treated fairly and equally under the law, regardless of their background. Question 113. What is the legal age of consent for sexual activity in A. 14, B. 15, C. 16, D. 18? Answers is C. 16. The legal age of consent for sexual activity in is 16. This applies across England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Question 114. What is the national flower of Northern Ireland? A. Rose, B. Thistle, C. Shamrock, D. Daffodil? Answers is C. Shamrock. The shamrock is an unofficial national flower of Northern Ireland, strongly associated with saint and Irish identity. Question 115. Who wrote A Christmas Carol? A. Jane, B. Charles Dickens, C. D. Thomas Hardy? Answers is B. Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens was a renowned English novelist who some of the world's fictional characters and is regarded by many as the greatest novelist of the Victorian era. Question 116. Which British author wrote the Harry Potter series? A. Dahl, B. J.K. C. C.S. Lewis, D. Enid. Answers is B. J.K. J.K. is the British author of the Harry Potter fantasy series, which has sold over 500 million worldwide and spawned a major film franchise. Question 117. Which British author wrote The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings? A. C.S. Lewis, B. J.R.R. C. Philip Pullman, D. Terry. Answers is B. J.R.R. J.R.R. was an English writer, poet, philologist and university professor, best known as the author of the classic high fantasy works The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Question 118. What is the famous university boat race held annually between Oxford and Cambridge? A. Henley Royal Regatta, B. The Boat Race, C. Wheel Race, D. University Challenge. Answers is B. The Boat Race. The Boat Race is an annual rowing race between the Oxford University Boat Club and the Cambridge University Boat Club, rowed along the River Thames in London. Question 119. What is the name of the traditional British Christmas dessert, often served flaming? A. Apple crumble, B. Christmas pudding, C. Sticky toffee pudding, D. Trifle. Answers is B. Christmas pudding. Christmas pudding is a traditional British dessert, typically dark and dense, made with dried fruit, and often served with brandy butter or cream. It is often before serving. Question 120. What is the British term for a period of economic difficulty historically related to specific goods? A. Financial boom, B. Recession or slump, C. Stagnation, D. Inflation. Answers is B. Recession or slump. While recession is the modern term, historically, British English might have used terms like slump or referred to specific crises like the Great Depression or energy crisis. Question 121. What is the minimum school leaving age in the A. 14, B. 15, C. 16, D. 18? Answers is C. 16. In England, young people must stay in some form of education or training until they are 18, but the compulsory school age to leave is 16. Question 122. What is the government's primary responsibility regarding national security? A. Managing public transport, B. Protecting its citizens from threats, C. Organising sporting events, D. Regulating television programming. Answers is B. Protecting its citizens from threats. One of the most fundamental of the government is to ensure the national security of the country and protect its citizens from both domestic and international threats. Question 123. Which historical Roman bath complex is a major tourist attraction in England? A. Chester Roman Gardens, B. Roman Baths, Bath, C. Roman Palace, D. Museum. Answers is B. Roman Baths, Bath. The Roman baths in the city of Bath are ancient Roman spas, fed by Britain's only hot spring, and are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Question 124. Which king was forced to flee England after the Battle of Worcester during the English Civil War? A. James I. B. Charles C. Charles I. D. James. Answers is B. Charles. Charles fled England and spent 9 years in exile after his defeat by Oliver forces at the Battle of Worcester in 1651, the final battle of the English Civil War. Question 125. Which Scottish poet is celebrated annually on Burns Night? A. Sir Walter Scott. B. Robert Burns. C. Robert Louis. D. Lord. Answers is B. Robert Burns. Robert Burns is Scotland's national poet, and his life and work are celebrated every year on Burns Night January, with suppers featuring haggis, whiskey and poetry. Question 126. What is the name of the traditional Scottish garment worn by men? A. Tartan. B. Kilt. C. Sparran. D. Answers is B. Kilt. A kilt is a garment with pleats at the rear, originating in the traditional dress of Gaelic men and boys in the Scottish Highlands. Question 127. What is the official currency of the United Kingdom? A. Euro. B. Pound sterling. C. US dollar. D. Shilling. Answers is B. Pound sterling. The pound sterling is the official currency of the United Kingdom and it's associated. Question 128. What is the term for respecting differences in culture, religion and beliefs in the A. Assimilation. B. Tolerance and mutual respect. C. Segregation. D. Indifference. Answers is B. Tolerance and mutual respect. Tolerance and mutual respect for different faiths and beliefs, and for those without faith, is a key British value that promotes harmony in a diverse society. Question 129. Which famous London market is known for its street art and alternative culture? A. Borough Market. B. Camden Market. C. Portobello Road Market. D. Columbia Road Flower Market. Answers is B. Camden Market. Camden Market is a vibrant market in North London, famous for its diverse stalls selling crafts, clothing, food, and its alternative atmosphere. Question 130. Which major sports stadium in London is home to the England national football team? A. Stadium. B. Stadium. C. The London Stadium. D. Old. Answers is B. Stadium. Stadium in London is the national stadium of England and the home of the England national football team. Question 131. What is the name of the ancient monument in Wiltshire, famous for its stone circle? A. Hadrian's Wall. B. Stonehenge. C. Avebury Stone Circles. D. Maiden Castle. Answers is B. Stonehenge. Stonehenge is a prehistoric monument on Salisbury Plain in Wiltshire, England, consisting of a ring of standing stones, to have been constructed between 3000 and 2000. Question 132. What is the name of the traditional British afternoon meal consisting of tea, cakes and scones? A. Brunch. B. Afternoon tea. C. High tea. D. Elevenses. Answers is B. Afternoon tea. Afternoon tea is a traditional British custom, often served in the late afternoon, featuring a selection of dainty scones with jam and cream and various cakes, along with tea. Question 133. Who is the patron saint of England whose cross is on the English flag? A. Andrew, B. George, C. D. David. Answers is B. George. St. George is the patron saint of England. His red cross on a white background, George's cross, is the flag of England. Question 134. What is the British equivalent of the American Thanksgiving holiday? A. Christmas Day, B. Harvest Festival, not a public holiday, C. Easter Sunday, D. Guy Night. Answers is B. Harvest Festival, not a public holiday. While not a public holiday like American Thanksgiving, the Harvest Festival is a traditional British celebration of thanks for successful harvests, often observed in churches and schools. Question 135. What is the name of the annual horse racing event in Liverpool, famous for its Grand National Race? A. Royal Ascot, B. Racecourse, C. Festival, D. Epsom Derby. Answers is B. Racecourse. Racecourse near Liverpool is renowned for hosting the Grand National, a famous national hunt horse race. Question 136. Which British architect designed cathedral in London? A. Jones, B. Sir Christopher Wren, C. Robert Adam, D. John Nash. Answers is B. Sir Christopher Wren. Sir Christopher Wren was a highly acclaimed English architect who was responsible for rebuilding 52 churches in the City of London after the Great Fire in 1666, including his masterpiece, Cathedral. Question 137. What is the purpose of the Commonwealth of Nations? A. To control former, B. To promote international cooperation and common values, C. To establish a common currency, D. To form a military alliance. Answers is B. To promote international cooperation and common values. The Commonwealth of Nations is a political association of 56 member states, almost all of which are former of the British Empire, promoting shared values of democracy, human rights, and rule of law. Question 138. What is a characteristic of modern British society regarding religion? A. Everyone must follow the Church of England. B. Religious freedom and diversity are protected. C. Only Christian religions are permitted. D. Religion plays no role in public life. Answers is B. Religious freedom and diversity are protected. There is a diverse society where religious freedom is protected by law, allowing people to practice their chosen religion or no religion at all, without discrimination. Question 139. What is the name of the annual music festival held in England? A. Reading Festival, B. Glastonbury Festival, C. Isle of Wight Festival, D. Leeds Festival. Answers is B. Glastonbury Festival. The Glastonbury Festival of Contemporary Performing Arts is a festival of contemporary performing arts that takes place near England. Question 140. Which British scientist developed the first successful vaccine for smallpox? A. Alexander Fleming, B. Edward, C. Robert D. Louis. Answers is B. Edward. Edward, an English physician, pioneered the concept of vaccines, creating the smallpox vaccine in the late century, which led to the eradication of the disease. Question 141. What is the traditional Welsh dish made with lamb or beef, root vegetables and stark? A. Cole, B. Welsh rarebit, C. Faggots, D. Bris. Answers is B. Welsh rarebit. Welsh rarebit, or is a dish made with a savoury sauce of melted cheese and other ingredients served hot over toasted bread. Cole is the traditional Welsh stew. Question 142. What is the name of the famous loch in Scotland rumoured to contain a monster? A. Loch, B. Loch Ness, C. Loch or D. Loch. Answers is B. Loch Ness. Loch Ness is a large, deep loch in the Scottish Highlands, famous worldwide for alleged sightings of the Loch Ness monster. Question 143. What is the formal process of becoming a British citizen? A. Immigration, B. Naturalisation, C. Residency, D. Asylum. Answers is B. Naturalisation. Naturalisation is the legal act or process by which a country may acquire citizenship or nationality of that country, often after fulfilling residency and other requirements. Question 144. What is the traditional dance style of Scotland, often performed at A. Dance, B. Scottish country dancing, C. Flamenco, D. Jig. Answers is B. Scottish country dancing. Scottish country dancing is a form of social dance involving groups of couples, often performed to traditional Scottish music at social gatherings and... Question 145. What is the name of the national flag of Wales? A. George's Cross, B. Why the Red Dragon, C. Andrew's Cross, D. Union Jack. Answers is B. Why the Red Dragon. The national flag of Wales, Y, features a red dragon on a green and white field, and has been officially recognised since 1959. Question 146. Who was the English king during the time of Robin Hood legends? A. King Henry, B. King Richard I the Lionheart, C. King John, D. King Edward. Answers is B. King Richard I the Lionheart. The legends of Robin Hood are traditionally set during the reign of King Richard I, often while he was away on the Third Crusade, and his brother John was ruling in his stead. Question 147. What is the main role of the advice service in the A. To provide financial loans, B. To offer free impartial advice on a range of issues, C. To prosecute benefit fraud, D. To collect national statistics. Answers is B. To offer free impartial advice on a range of issues. Advice is a network of independent throughout that provide free, confidential advice on issues like debt, benefits, housing, employment, and consumer rights. Question 148. Which major scientific institution in London promotes science education and research? A. British Museum, B. Science Museum, C. Victoria and Albert Museum, D. Natural History Museum. Answers is B. Science Museum. The Science Museum in London is a major museum on Exhibition Road in South Kensington, part of the Science Museum Group, dedicated to promoting public understanding of science. Question 149. What is the British government's responsibility regarding education? A. To only fund private schools. B. To provide a universal education system. C. To make all university degrees free. D. To dictate all school curricula centrally. Answers is B. To provide a universal education system. The government, through its devolved administrations, has a responsibility to provide a universal education system, ensuring all children have access to schooling. Question 150. Which major historical document is often considered the foundation of modern parliamentary democracy? A. Domesday Book. B. Magna. C. Statute of Anne. D. Act of Union. Answers is B. Magna. The Magna 1215 is a landmark document in British legal history, establishing the principle that everyone, including the monarch, is subject to the law and laying foundations for parliamentary democracy.